A Century of Great Women came about really from the end of last year. I was listening to Radio 4, I think I'm one of the few people who do, and I was listening to Woman's Hour, and there was a discussion on about how much do young women know, children know, about women's history. And it was quite interesting because they were talking about March being Women's History Month. I had no idea that there was such a thing. So I thought, well, I'm not a child and I'm not a young woman, why don't I know this? And the discussion talked about what do we know about women and who are the women we are sort of conscious of. And of course, the suffragettes. Everybody knows about the suffragettes, but other women, not so much. And that got me thinking that it would be very nice to celebrate the centenary of International Women's Day. And again, I was surprised that that had been going for 100 years. I was amazed that that should be the case. What about celebrating it in the words of those women? Soon after that, I went to a meeting organised by Equity, the Actors Union, at 17percent Theatre. And they were discussing this thorny problem of women over 50 simply not getting work. And a lot of people said, well, it's down to the writers. The writers must create roles for women, good, strong roles for women. And then I went the following week to another meeting organised by Sphinx, which is the feminist theatre company in London, and they were saying much the same thing, and there were some really, really interesting speakers. And I was kind of fired up by this because I thought, well, I'm an actress and a writer, why don't I do something? So then I started talking to friends and colleagues, and everyone was saying, this is such a good idea, you must do this. So I did it the wrong way round. I didn't advertise for actresses. I actually wrote to all the actors I knew and asked them if they would be interested in working with me on a project about a century of great women. And to my absolute amazement, everybody said yes. And I thought, well, if that's the case, then all the women I know span 5 decades. So I've got actors in their 20s and actors in their 70s. And this is perfect. So instead of casting actors for the women, I cast the women for the actors. So I've actually done it the other way round. I also wanted them to be very involved in their choices. I didn't want to say you've got to play X or Y. I wanted to say, well, who interests you? And of course they came up with people, some people I hadn't heard of. So it's been a real learning curve for me. And then I had to think about, well, what does make a great woman? And decided now that women who just get on with it against all odds are great. A lot of people will disagree with the choices, and that's good because that's going to fire debate, and hopefully people will stay on afterwards and argue with the actors in the bar. It isn't a PhD, it's not a documentary, it's just presenting women in their own roles over the last 100 years. And it has become an exceptionally interesting piece to work on. And I have found a wonderful musician who has sourced music of each period. And so we have some singers, we have actors, and the company sing a couple of quite well-known songs. And the whole programme is an absolute delight, and it's a celebration. And I hope that it will be taken further and possibly tour in the summer in various counties if the interest remains, which I think it will.